Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who might not have seen my videos before, so I'm a local league table tennis player. I like to document my matches, my tournaments and my training. Today I am playing in a tournament at Ellesmere Port. It is a one-star tournament, so it means it's like a national ranking tournament with points available to go towards your national ranking. Veterans in table tennis is over 40, so unfortunately I do qualify for that. And as you can see here, we're playing at the Ellesmere Port Sports Village. It's a great little tournament this. It's organised by Pavel Ozanowski and Aaron Beach. Quite a new facility here actually, so really good fun to play in. Format is fairly standard for like a table tennis tournament, so it's going to be groups of 7 today, round robin format, so we'll all play each other. Top 2 get prizes, so should be really good. There's some pretty tough players in my group, a few guys that I know quite well, there's a few guys that I've not met before, so should be really interesting. So let's see how we get on. Okay, so the first match of the day is against my good friend Jack Geng. I play with Jack in the Trafford League, so we know each other very well. That was the first point of the day actually, and I'd had virtually no warm-up, so it was quite a nice way to sort of start things off. Jack's playing well at the moment, so it wasn't going to be easy. I'd say he's a very similar style player to myself actually. He likes to sort of serve and third ball attack. He's got a really good backhand actually. His forehand's nice, but he's got a really nice backhand, so have to be a little bit careful because I definitely have a tendency to play into people's backhands as a general rule. With this, I just really tried to make sure that I got him first. That was nice from Jack there. You see there sort of like long deep serve and then attacking it straight away. So again, I just had to take advantage. If there's any kind of loose serves, anything like that, just going to just get in. I think one of the things that I did really well in this match is that I countered quite nicely. There's a few good rallies that you'll see here as sort of like the highlights go on, that I was just trying to be as aggressive as I could during the rallies, just trying not to block, just trying to get in and just attack as much as possible. That was really nice there because I think there's a few times where Jack kind of like misread my serves and he put them up a little bit. I did the same thing there, and he kind of like went around the net and caught the edge. But yeah, there's a few times that Jack just sort of like misread my serves a little bit, so any time that he would like pop it up. So you see here, that was a fantastic rally, and Jack finished it off nicely with the backhand there. But yeah, anything that was kind of like loose, I just tried to finish it off as quickly as I possibly could. There you go, that's a really good example. So yeah, really sort of like nice sort of start to the day. Got myself off, feeling nice and confident. Just tried to kind of carry that on. Okay, so second match of the day is against Mark Rhodes. Played Mark a few times before now actually. Most recently at it was the final of the Bangor Open actually, which I won last year. Interesting thing with Mark is that he changes his bat setup quite a lot. So he normally uses pimples, but today he was actually using like a normal rubber on both sides. So it was quite interesting really, because that kind of like really sort of like almost made it like I was playing against a completely new player. As you can see here though, he's really good. He's got some good serves. He's very aggressive as well. You can see there again, anything that's kind of popped up, he'll just kill it, just put it away. Hits the ball quite flat as well, so it actually makes it quite difficult to return. As you can see there, one of the serves that he was using quite a lot was quite a heavy backspin serve, very wide to my forehand. left-handed, so it just means that the angles and stuff that the ball comes at you can be slightly different. So this really wide serve was a little bit tricky to deal with, actually. I found that a little bit earlier on in the game I was missing it a little bit. I was making a few mistakes trying to loop it, so I sort of changed my tactics a little bit, and I started to vary the returns. I tried to push it a couple of times. If I tried to then loop it, I try and go straight down the line rather than just doing it cross court, because I think, you see, like that was kind of like what he was anticipating, and he was looking to block it to my backhand immediately. It's like a ploy that there's been a few left-handed players that I've played against who do the same kind of thing. They'll serve into your forehand, wait for you to loop it back to their backhand, and then they'll immediately block it straight to your backhand. It's always awkward with left-handers. You've got to bear that in mind all the time, that you've got to use sort of like different lines. I try to, if I can, sort of serve straight at a left-hander and go straight, almost like go straight down the lines rather than going cross-court. This was a really, really good game, though. Was really, really happy to win it 3-0. So third match of the day is against Mehdi Eskoroochi. You can see there, that's a good indication, one of the very first points. He had some pretty good serves, some quite heavy backspin, and then also some good side spin as well. So kind of struggled a little bit with that. Even as the match was going on, I felt like I was missing quite a lot of his serves. I think one of the things that kind of like suited me though in this game is that when he would push, it was predominantly heavy backspin. Now that is normally quite good for me, because it tends to be almost like the people who push with a little bit more float. Like there, for example, a floatier ball, I do definitely have a tendency to kind of like pop that up a little bit, treat it like it's got heavier backspin. They're the ones that I can make the mistakes on. So so heavier backspin is quite nice for me to spin up. Yeah, it was a really good game, this, actually. There was some good rallies. You can see here that he was actually pretty good when he moved back from the table. He could he could lob and he could fish quite nicely. It suits me though, because I think that my forehand is sort of generally progressing all the time. It's been quite strong for a while now, so that kind of thing, I feel like I can hit quite a few sort of half decent quality loops one after the other. I did really enjoy this game. Again, I think probably the slight issue that Mehdi had is that his forehand's maybe not quite as strong as his backhand, so he was looking to almost be in use his backhand as his default sort of ready position, which meant that if I was to go slightly outside of his pocket, he would still be looking to sort of block and just generally use his backhand. So that kind of, I tried to exploit that weakness a little bit and try and go sort of straight at him. There, you see, anything that was spun up slowly and not quite enough quality, you could deal with quite nicely. Again, quite a lot of the times he was quite happy to sort of push, which suits my game. People give me a backspin ball, just allows me to spin the ball up and get in on the attack. And again, this was the main thing I was trying to do here, just trying to get in, be as aggressive as I could.
Yes.
Okay, so just stepped outside for a little bit of a break. It's been quite fast and frantic, actually. Didn't have the best preparation. I ended up getting here a little bit late, so literally kind of walked in with about 10 minutes to spare, said hello to a few people, and then I didn't get a chance to have a warm-up at all. And again, for me, I always feel like I just need to have fairly decent warm-up, more than just forehand to forehand, backhand to backhand. I need to be hitting a few serves, doing a few returns, doing a few movement drills as well, just to kind of really get myself sort of into it. And you just, like I say, it was nobody else's fault but mine, but just kind of misjudged the amount of time it's going to take to get here. So ended up It's kind of like just walking in and having to go straight onto the table. So I feel like it's taken a couple of matches to kind of like get my serves going as well. I just feel like, you know, my serves are just not quite where I want them to go, not quite getting the spin on them that I want. So, but yeah, felt a little bit better in the last game that I played there. So played 3 matches so far. First one was against Jack Geng. Second one was against Rhodes, and then the third one was against Mehdi, who I've not played before. I think the game against Jack, was pretty happy with it because, like I say, Jack's playing pretty well at the moment. He's a good, he attacks with both forehand and backhand. He's got some good serves as well. So again, really tried to kind of like get in and attack as best as I could on my forehand. Mark Rhodes, it was quite an unusual one because I've played Mark a few times before, and he's normally got like a slightly different bat setup each time, and he tends to vary between sort of short to medium pips and then either very, very thin sponge or no sponge at all, so really awkward. And then today I played him and he had a completely normal bat. So I mean, it was making a bit of a funny sound. So I think it was like an actual balsa blade, but the rubbers themselves were normal. So I said to him, I was completely like flabbergasted by it. I just I wasn't expecting it at all. So I had a good game with him, but again, I think that kind of like suited me, the fact that he had these normal rubbers, because he does flat hit quite a lot, but he was getting spinnier serves than he does do normally, but I could deal with those okay. And then I found that I could then re-loop any of the blocks or anything like that, and I could get him first to stop him flat hitting too much. So that kind of like suited me probably a little bit more than some of his other bat setups. And then Mehdi, the third game, again I found with him that his pushes were generally quite heavy backspin, which sort of suits me quite well. And then the one thing that he was trying to do was, I didn't feel like his forehand was that strong, so I tried to sort of target that side. And I also really tried to target like just outside of his crossover, because I was finding that he was wanting to sort of like use his backhand to kind of like control. So if I could get him just across here, then that meant that he was a little bit out of position and he'd struggle a little bit with it. So 3 good matches so far, but the last 3 are going to be really, really difficult. I've got to play Stephen Collins, who I'm yet to beat. He's very good. Dariusz, who I've been watching him play, and he looks like he's playing excellent. He's got some really good serves and he's good forehand and backhand. And then Carlos as well. And obviously, I played Carlos the other day, like I mentioned in the introduction. He's got like a hybrid anti-spin on his backhand. He's got an awesome forehand as well, so that's going to be a tough match. So let's see how we get on this afternoon. Okay, so the crunch match of the day against Carlos. Only joking. Really, really good friend of mine, Carlos. You get on with him really well. He's a lovely bloke, and he puts a lot of time into his game. So I've got a lot of respect for him. Really, he does try very, very hard. So he's been sort of playing around a little bit over the last sort of year or so, where he's been using different rubbers on his backhand, using long pimples for a little bit, and then the last few weeks leading up to this tournament, he was using what's called like a hybrid anti-spin. You can see there though that his forehand is absolutely incredible. So yeah, this was a tricky match for me really, because I'd played him 2 or 3 days before this in a summer league match in Trafford, and I'd lost 3-1 to him, and to be perfectly honest with you, he beat me pretty comfortably. And then the way that this game kind of started, it was a very, very similar sort of thing where I don't know, I just kept losing point after point after point, and he was just getting further and further away from me. So I found with this, what started to work quite nicely was the fact that I obviously tried to target his backhand side, which is a pretty obvious tactic given that his forehand is so strong. But I also tried to really focus on consistency. I think the problem was that when he would sort of block from the backhand side, with it being this hybrid anti-spin, I didn't really know what was happening with it. So rather than trying to be too aggressive, trying to kill any balls that kind of came for his backhand, I'd do like that. I'd sort of like spin it up and just try and make sure that I got it back. And obviously I have to be very, very careful, because I do that to his forehand, as you saw in the point prior to this. And obviously, spin it up, and he can then attack it with his forehand, which is kind of what he's trying to do with using this sort of funny backhand rubber. He's trying to set up the forehand shots. So yes, the main thing was just to try and stay as consistent as I could do with like the earlier balls of the rally, and then once I got the right ball back, just really rip at it. But like I say, it's just not easy at all with Carlos, because his forehand is so strong, and obviously he's looking to third ball attack so much you know, it's difficult to kind of contain what happens. So again, it was just a case of trying to stay as consistent as I could, trying to block well and trying to anticipate if it did go to his forehand, you had to be ready to block, which I did do pretty well actually. And then when the opportunity was there, just like absolutely rip at it. So this was a fantastic game, really enjoyed it. And then in the end managed to sort of like pinch it 3-2. So absolutely delighted with this, great game, you know, well played Carlos. So match number 5 of the day is against Stephen Collins. Tricky opponent, Stephen. I played him twice before and I've lost to him both times. And to be honest with you, not really challenged him. As you can see here, he's one of these players, he tends to stay quite close to the table. He quite likes to sort of like flat it, especially with his backhand. You know, like anything that's kind of like spun up to the backhand side, he'll just kind of like punch it away. Just very consistent. You can see here, like I hit some nice leads, but they were just straight at him. So again, this game kind of like started off very similar to the game against Carlos, where he absolutely ran away with the first game, and he got to about, I think it was like 10-2 or 10-3 up, something like that. I managed to get it back to about 10-7, but I still lost that first game. And then I sort of like started to change a little bit, like what I was doing. I think one of the biggest kind of factors in this game was I'd had a lesson a week or so prior with Amir Hussein, and one of the things that he'd been talking to me about in terms of like to move my game up to the next level is to really think about my service return. So I really started to think about that a little bit more in this game actually. So rather than just trying to get the ball back on the table and then trying to get in with my forehand on my backhand loop, I would really try to focus on sort of like touching it short, digging it long and fast, moving him around and just making the service return as awkward as possible. Once I started to do this, it totally changed the complexion of the game actually. And I just found myself being able to get in more and more. Felt like I served quite well in this game actually as well. My serving had improved by this sort of like stage of the tournament. And my confidence kind of increased, and Stephen started to make more and more mistakes. So was really pleased with this game, because as you can see here, like Stephen is a top quality player. He's really good, and it's his style of play. You know, this kind of like staying close to the table and sort of like punching and, you know, counter hitting very quickly that I really struggled against. So was really pleased with this actually. Yeah, and like I say, as the game went on, I felt more and more in control of it. I kind of disrupted his rhythm, disrupted his game, and was delighted to take the win. So the final match of quite a long day is against Dariusz. I knew this was going to be a tough one because I played Dariusz probably 2 or 3 times before. I've beaten him a few times, but I've also lost to him a few times. You can see there that he's got some great shots. He's got a really nice kind of like backhand open up. But he did that sort of like twice in about 3 shots. So, you know, it was obviously something that I thought to myself, I've got to be a little bit careful about doing this. But you can see he's got a pretty nice forehand. He made a little bit of a mistake on the third one there, so he's got a tendency to maybe snatch at it if he has to hit 2 or 3 on the trot. But I think his real strength is his serving. I had a discussion with him afterwards, actually, like how good his serving is. I mean, obviously there you can see our main strategy was just like it is normally, just to try and get in as much as possible. But the problem is that, you know, like there, I hit a lovely backhand, and then he just countered that straight back past me. So yeah, there was no kind of like easy answers to this game. So it was a case of if you played it sort of like, you know, didn't hit a good enough shot to his backhand, he had a lovely backhand open up. If you hit a weak shot to his forehand, he would put it away. But then also, if you hit a pretty decent shot to his forehand or to his backhand, he could put it away too. There was numerous times where I would actually loop to him, and he would like counter it straight back past me, and I just was not expecting it at all. If anything, I'd sort of thought he'd maybe block it, and then the next thing is he just hit it past me. So yeah, lots of spin on his shots as well. So he had like a nice mix of counter hits and sort of like spinny open ups. So yeah, it was all in all like a really, really tough game. I started off quite nicely though, took the first 2 sets, so 2-0 up, thinking I'm in control. Obviously I've won 5 matches already, so was kind of thinking, well, you know, hopefully this will be, I mean, that was, look at that there, hit an absolutely fantastic backhand, and then really, really wide to his backhand, and he hit it straight back onto the table past me. But yeah, I was thinking that this was probably going to, you know, allow me to go through the day unbeaten. Didn't end up quite panning out that way. I'll let you enjoy the remainder of this though, because there was some really, really good points.
Band 2, runner-up, Carlos. Well done, Carlos. Okay, winner for band 2, Neil Maya. Well done, Neil. Looks really well.
I'm on YouTube now. Big smile. Yay!
Yes. Well done.
Smoking in the backseat with a future enemy. Let loose and lose yourself tonight.
So there we have it. A very enjoyable day, a very long day, but absolutely delighted to take the win in Band 2 of a very, very strong tournament. The Ellesmere Port tournaments in general, whether it be the Vets or the Open Age, always very strong, attract a lot of interest from good players from surrounding areas. So if you're thinking about wanting to enter a tournament to get involved, I would highly recommend this. really well run. The venue is fantastic. Aaron and Pavel do a fantastic job. From a table tennis perspective, I feel that there's a lot of positives that I can take from this. I feel like my backhand is getting stronger all the time. I felt like my decision making was good today. There's obviously a lot of things that I need to improve on, but I'm going to keep training hard over the summer, and then I can hopefully hit the ground running for the start of next season. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.